Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my home. I am going to be displaying and talking about a whole variety of large plastic swim baits. I've been growing heavily addicted to these things lately. The strike from a big snook on these is like nothing else. The battle is awesome. The only real sad thing is when the bluefish are around, you end up with something like this. But feeling the weight of that lure just dragging the bottom or fighting a big fast tide and then getting smashed is just awesome. So I got a little crazy. I've been using mostly just the NLBNs and then some other random swim baits that are like the full hook and plastic together kind of thing. I decided to branch out, find some local stuff here. Like Skyline Jigheads are based out of Port Charlotte, I believe, or anyway, south of me just a little bit. Some of these swim baits, like the Gambler, that's a Florida company, and some of these are just cool, right? Like niche. I was told about them by some other folks, and decided to give them all a try. So let's look at what we got. We'll do some testing in the water, and then hopefully I can get maybe a fish or two on some of these and get that in this video as well. All right, let's start with our hooks, right? There's so many different kinds. The two we're messing with today are weedless screw lock hooks, and then jig heads, right? So we got regular little jig heads like these guys. These are 1/4 ounce. These are great for little 2, 3, 4 inch swim baits. Got this little Z-Man on this one. This is from Skyline. The fella that owns this company hand pours and makes all of these custom to order. They're pretty sick, and he's a really cool local businessman too. I've talked to him a bit, but his jig heads are top freaking quality. I believe it's black nickel. They're all coated in, which helps preserve it from rusting and makes it incredibly strong. These things will not bend. If there's anything wrong with a lot of the mass-produced jig heads you find on the market, is that they bend way too easily and they rust way too quick, depending on the brand. Don't get me wrong, there's some good ones out there that don't, but these are high quality and they're actually priced pretty good. Also, I want to make sure this is clear. I'm not sponsored in any way. This is all just my opinion. So anyway, and then you also have these screw lock jig heads like these from the NLBN, and then Skyline also makes one, and they're black nickel coated, really strong ones. I like the eyes on theirs too. It's like a pearl kind of thing going on there. Here's a nice red one, so I got two. So this shape of the jig head, well, it kind of looks like a fish, right? Or a creature. And it helps when it drags the bottom. This helps keep it from getting snagged. And the tail of the lure will actually be up and wiggling like this. So this will be dragging the bottom. And so that's kind of the jig heads. And then that's for any sort of plastic that doesn't have a head. I mean, I work with the kinds that have heads too, but it's made for these, right? So the jig head is the head of the fish. And then you have your fluke style lures, like the NLBN's Little Mullet is my favorite personally. And those are good for these screw lock hooks here. I got some in to try out that I've never tried before. This is from Falcon Lures, and these can come weightless or weighted, right? And when they're weighted, they have some lead that has been molded onto them. So yeah, this is Falcon Lures 6.0. And one thing I've noticed too is you'll see the sizes listed. There's no set rule for what that is. See that this is a 6.0, and this is also considered a 6.0, and they're obviously way different in size. And then this is from Skyline. This is their 5.0, and their 5.0 is a little bit, I mean, it seems a little bit bigger, close to the same size as the 6.0 from Falcon. So I never really can trust what size the hook is when somebody says 6.0 or 5.0. I don't get that. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but I know that 5.0 and 6.0 are gonna be pretty big and fit some of the larger lures. Two of these NLBNs rigged up with these kind of weights. The heavier it is, of course, the faster it sinks. But also when the water's flowing really heavy, like you're hitting a bridge that's got a strong tide coming in, you're gonna want to go a bit heavier, because when you go use a light one like this, it doesn't have even time to sink before it just gets swept away. But when the water's cooler, I mean stiller, not as heavy flowing. Then a lighter one is actually kind of nice. They really dance more in the water, whereas the weighted ones don't dance quite as much because the weight's kind of pulling them down. But these guys, if you go even weightless, it's almost like a topwater lure, man. It just does not sink much at all, and it goes. Now, the little mullets kind of confused me for a while. When I first got it, I was like, okay, so this must be how it is, right? Like, it's this is the top and bottom, and that's all I considered like forever, just kind of quick glance. But then I realized after looking at it a bit, it actually goes like this, right? So the flat side is the top, and this is the bottom of the plastic. So I've rigged this one up. Did I rig either of these? Yeah. So this is the correct way, from what I understand, to rig it. The hook goes into the slot so that it's mostly covered and then comes out on the flat side, right? I was doing it this way for a long time. This is backwards. I'm going hook through what's supposed to be the top and then out the bottom. But what this does is the weight will make it swim like this, upside down. I kind of like the upside down better. I caught a really nice redfish on it this way. What happens is, I've noticed when you rig it the correct way with one of these weighted hooks, when you kind of jerk it or jig it, it goes up, right? And it dances to the top of the water and kind of out of it. It'll even jump out of the water. When you rig it upside down and you jerk it like this, it actually sinks and goes down and does some loops. And I found I prefer it to do that. Really shallow water, midsummer, then yeah, I want it at the top. But most of the time I want it to kind of go deeper in the water. So I kind of like the upside down rigging of these little mullets. But all right, let's take a look at some of these paddle tails. So these are the Bad Bubba 5-inch ones, right? They're the Bubba Shads, right? 5-inch Bubba Shads. 3 come in a pack. I think it was like $5. It's really not that expensive. I got these 2 colors. So I'm really excited to try them out. They're very similar to the NLBNs, but not quite as wide or girthy. They're about the same height, I guess you would say. But yeah, this width, girthiness is not the same. The tails are very similar, almost identical. And then they both have the groove down the back. Honestly, the main reason I love NLBN so much is just width. So I really want to try these out. I want to see how they roll. And I'm going to put one on a 1.5 ounce locking jig head, right? So this is, actually I'm going to use the light color one with the white jig head. So I'm going to put this one on here, just kind of mark where it needs to pop out. About right there by this green dot. So go down the middle. Oh, that's so clear, you can really see the hook all the way through it. So I marked where I need to pull the hook out, was down by this green speck. There we go. Now these things, to get them on, they're screw lock. So you have to work the tail around and just screw it on like that. It's really cool, really clever mechanism. The first time I ever saw it was with the NLBN ones, and it really does lock that thing on there. So I need another round. The goal though is to have it in the right position. So this is still a little not on there as much as I'd like, but there's also a little room to push it further in. Just keep on going. Ow, damn, those are sharp. Okay, so that's pretty good right there. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good swimmer. So yeah, look at that. We're ready to go get a big old snook on this guy. Color-wise, I don't know what's better, man. These guys remind me of a ladyfish. I know snook love ladyfish. The dark ones remind me of mullet. Snook also love mullet. I guess it's about what's kind of around, what they're in the mood for. I know darker colors tend to do good in murkier water because you can see the darkness profile better than something like this that might disappear in the dark. But when there's light in the water, they say lighter colors and clearer colors will work better. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I know that snook, the black line along their side is what they usually sense movement near them in the water, but I'm sure a visual helps too. So this guy, cool. We'll give that a shot. And then I'm really freaking excited about these monster ones, right? So I've got an 8-inch, I think. No, a 7-inch here, and a 9-inch. I've never fished anything over 5, so this is by far going to be the biggest lure I've ever thrown. And then this guy here and this guy here, I'm not sure what to do with. This one, I think I could use a smaller jig head, right? Like, it's pretty little up top there. It's skinny. Has a big old weird, almost a rectangular shaped tail. I really like this thing though. It seems like it's gonna wiggle a lot in the water, right? So the swim patterns might be really cool. I'll get that guy rigged up on something. And then this one I don't really know what to do with either. I guess just another big jig head for it too. It has I've used these before in freshwater, some really small ones. I never used one even close to this size. I think this just gives it more action maybe. When I was using the small ones, I would tear it here and put this onto a skirted jig for bass, but I think you're supposed to keep a hold like this. I might look up some videos and see how people tend to rig these things to get some ideas, and then we'll see it swimming in the tub here in a second.